This episode today is brought to you by Prezi. If you're tired of giving boring old PowerPoint presentations, I'm telling you, time to wake up. Check out Prezi. So many salespeople go out there and look like everybody else with their boring slide deck that marketing put together. But what if you were able to put together a more intuitive presentation? Something that doesn't look like your competition, but something that tells your story, that is able to build value. Something that's intuitive and something that your prospect will actually put their phones down for. If you want that, I highly recommend you check out Prezi. You can get a demonstration of Prezi, all its power, by going to prezi.com/TSE. Again, prezi.com/TSE. I promise you, it will be totally worth it. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you. And this is Christmas Day. And I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas wherever you are in the world. I know some of you are listening from far as Philippines to California to Florida to the Caribbean. And I just want to tell you, thank you so much for being here with us, for taking your time, for listening to our podcast, for sharpening your skills, for improving, and for helping us to be here as your resource. I'm grateful to be your coach, your mentor, and your friend on this journey we call becoming better at selling. And today is a very special day. It's a Merry Christmas. And today's going to be a different episode than typical. I'm actually going to share with you a story and teach a principle that will help you in your selling career. So let's just dive straight into it. There is a friend of ours. We went to their home for this Christmas party get together with some of the kids from our church. And there were there's a time at the evening where she was sharing a story. Now, this is a tradition that she has in her family. She shares this story with different groups of people. And when they have at the Christmas season, it's called the story of the Golden Pear. Now, you may have heard a version of it before in the past, some way, shape, or form, or maybe you have never heard this story before. But if this is the case, I want you to sit down next to the fire and listen. It's story time. So I give this credit to Shauna Hostetler. She's just a remarkable individual. Her family has this tradition that they do this every year to tell the story. But the story starts off like this. There's a farmer, and he has this wonderful pear orchard, like just beautiful pears, like wonderful. And there was a certain time of the year. This year, it was just better than any other year, where the pears were just so golden. They were like perfect. It was the right temperature outside throughout the year. The harvest came in great, plentiful. They were just right feeling to bite into them. You know how it is. You can't have something too soft or too hard. The pear just has to be perfect. And it was just amazing. Did I mention it was golden? It was just this golden, perfect yellow tone. Everything was great. Right amount of moisture. Everything was wonderful. This farmer had 3 sons, and they live in this village. So what the farmer wanted to do was he wanted to give a gift to the king as just at the end of the year. You know what I mean? They had a great harvest, and it's a great thing to want to share with your community leaders, like, give a little gift offering or something, right? So they went to this farmer, and I'm not telling the story exactly as Shauna would, but you get the point. So they went to this farmer went and picked some of his best pears and brought them to his son, put them in a basket, lined the basket, and told his son, now be careful with this. Take it down give it to the king, and deliver it and come back and let him know that it's a gift from us, that we appreciate all he does and hope he enjoys them. So the son goes on his way, son number 1. He's the oldest, right? He goes on his way, but on his way to the king, to the palace, he found this lady. Now, this lady was just some lady walking on a path, too. And she's like, hey, so what do you have in your bag there? What do you have in a basket? And I don't know what possessed the boy to say this, but he was like, there's nothing. It's just some rocks. And she was like, oh, interesting. Okay, well, carry on. Hope you have a great day. And he went along and went with the basket, got to the king's palace, and the guards say, who goes there? He's like, it's me. I have some pears to deliver from my father to the king. They're perfect and best pear, golden pears. My father wanted to give a gift to the king. So he's like, okay, well, come on in. Brought the kid in. He went into the king and presented these pears to the king. And the king got them and was so excited, opened up the basket, and guess what? There were rocks. And the king was like, you take me for a fool, man. What are you talking about? These are just rocks. So he's like, you know what? I don't like people insulting me. He took them and cast them into jail. Now, several days went by. The father was concerned now because his son hasn't returned. He hasn't heard any word. It hasn't, nothing. Just like, what's going on? Didn't have cell phones to call his son to say, what's going on, or use an iPhone tracker. So he sent his second son. He's like, all right, well, maybe go find your brother. But in case he didn't deliver these pears, here's a second batch. Again, take these to the king. They're very precious, and let him know that we appreciate all that he does, and so forth. So second son goes along his way, and he goes to the king on this path. But same thing happened. He meets this lady on the path, and the lady said, oh, what's in your basket? And, being pesky kids, he was just like, oh, it's nothing but pig slosh. So lady was like, oh, interesting. And he went along his way. Now, he got to the palace. Same thing happened. He went to the guards. The guards said, well, coincidence. The second person brought pears. And he's like, no, seriously, I have pears. So he's like, all right, come in. So he reluctantly brought him to the king. And the king was excited again, but then came to realize that when you open a basket, you notice there is no pears. It was just this disgusting basket liner full of pig slosh. So king got really upset, took him and told him to be cast into jail. So he was in jail now. So the man was like getting really worried now, because now he has two sons that went off, and both of them was gone. None of them came back, and he has no clue what's happening. He only has one son left, and he couldn't leave his farm because this is harvest and there's so much going on. And this is the best pear production ever. So he is like, okay, I have to stay here and maintain this. I have to stay and take care of this. So I'm going to send my last son. So his last little boy is the baby, the youngest one, never been out on a mission before, on a journey, on a trek, any of this, nothing at all. So he took the basket, another basket, lined it again, put the best of best pears in there, and sent the kid off and told him, find your brothers and give this to the king. Went along his way, and guess what happened? You guessed it. A lady saw him. And it's like, where are you going? What do you have? And told her what was going on. Said he has some of the best pears ever. And he's going to deliver them to the king. And so she was like, ooh, this is interesting. I've never seen, I've seen other people come down this path, but this guy is different. He's like so peppy. He's so excited. He has this gusto, just confidence, right? So she was like, well, very well, go along your way. And sometimes when you come across someone who's just very happy, it kind of puts you in a happy mood as well. It's interesting, right? So kid went along, got to the gate of the kingdom, and the guard said, let me guess, you got some pears. And he's like, wow, how did you know that? Yes, I do. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Take him and cast him into the jail. Threw him into jail, took the basket away, and he was saw his brothers. And he's like, what are you guys doing here? And he was like, Dad's worried about you guys. So, he sent me to look for you. And asked them what happened. Well, it was like, we came with the pears and we got cast into jail. Told them all about this. And the guards actually overheard them. And they were like, this is interesting. It sounds like the kid really does have pears in his basket. Let's take him to the king. Reluctantly, again, they brought him to the king, and the king was like, listen, I don't want to hear none of this story about no pears. You guys can't make a fool of me. But the guards was like, King, we think there's something different with this kid. So he brought the pears to him, and the king opened the basket, and lo and behold, they were pears. There were these golden, beautiful pears. And he was like, oh my goodness, these are wonderful. Even the taste was like amazing. So the king asked him, the kid, okay, I'll grant you one wish for giving me this great gift and thank your father. What's that one wish you want? And he said, so you can I want my brothers to be freed so we can go home. Didn't ask for gold or any of that, just for his family. So the king said, I can grant that wish, and sent them on their way. Went back home and retold the tale to their father. And the family lived happily ever after. Now, there's a point to the story, and I'm sure you can figure it out, and it's not to talk to strangers. I'm just kidding. That's not the point. But when my friend shared this with us, she said, you probably see this in your world. And I thought about it, and I'm like, yes, we do see this in my world. And in the sales arena, in the sales world, on sales teams, you find people like the oldest son or the youngest son who just have this negative thing about them, this negative idea, this negative mindset that everything is bad, like, woe is me. And they go about and they try to bring down other people with them. And you find people like the younger son who is a leader. Even though he's not the oldest or she's not the oldest, she is a leader. They have this positive mindset. And I think that's the key. What you believe is what's going to happen to you. As a sales professional, if you believe that you're not going to succeed, I tell you at the end of the year right now, you're going to look at your pipeline, you're going to look at everything and see that you're not succeeding. And you're probably one of the ones going in for the end of year review, and realize that you're probably on probation because you're not doing well. Now, there are many different factors, and you can go back and you can make a lot of these factors, but the most important factor is that it comes down to us. It's our decision if we're going to do well or not. Now, there are matters sometimes that are out of our control, but I would rather do as much as I can to my capabilities, everything in my power, before I can say it's something else or somebody else's fault. And some people, they think good stuff. They think well. They think that they're going to be successful. They think those happy thoughts. They envision success. They know their end from the beginning, and they work towards that. Those people tend to have greater success. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they have more skill. The younger kid had never been on a journey. But why did he have so much more of a success? Is because that people like those optimistic people. And that which you believe is that which will happen. You cannot sit here and believe you're not going to make your sales and all of a sudden you're going to make sales. You cannot sit here and believe that you're going to have a bad day and all of a sudden you're going to have a great day. Because a lot of that comes from what you believe. You reflect that on the world. You manifest your day-to-day action by what you're thinking. Oftentimes, those things come because you have those horrible people that you talk to, those bad customers, because you're in a crappy mood. You're the one that's in a bad mood, and then you make your customers even more in a crappier mood than they already have, and now you have this horrible day that formed. And then you're like, oh my goodness, I know where this day is going. Yeah, you started it. So at the end of the year right now, as we start the new year, what I would encourage you on this Christmas day is that you examine yourself. What kind of gifts are you giving? Are you giving uplifting, positive gifts? Or are you giving negative, downtrodden, horrible days, horrible gifts? The gift I'm talking about is a gift to yourself and to the world. Not like a physical gift, but you. Are you someone pleasant to be around? Or are you someone no one wants to hang out with? Are you that person on the sales team that no one goes out to lunch with because you're such a negative person? Are you the person that's always critical and bringing everyone else down? You have to make sure that when you go out as a seller, that you have the mindset of a winner. I know it may sound cheesy, but it's just the truth. By me thinking positive and thinking that I can do something, I've accomplished a lot of great things, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm nothing like amazing, I would say. I'm not like this expert seller. You'll find many other great sellers out there, many other great sales experts and wonderful authors. But you know what the difference between me and a lot of people are? Is I will take action. And I will believe in myself. Even if you don't believe in me right now, I'm going to believe in myself and take action. And I would encourage you to think like that as we start the new year off. What did you not accomplish this year? Don't bring that belief into the new year, but bring the belief that I'm going to accomplish it. I'm going to surpass it. I am going to make it happen. I'm going to make it work. And you can. And in fact, you will. If you have negative people around you, get rid of them, man. Don't hang around with them in the new year. Find a community like ours. Maybe you find your own mastermind or create your own mastermind. Maybe you join TSE Hustlers League and you get a chance to connect with other like-minded sellers, people who can help you, who can share thoughts and insights that's going to build you up, right? Get with the right folks. And if you can't think positive yet, well, again, get with the right people and maybe being around them will help you to think positive. I know that this stuff works. I know it's important to have positive thinking and positive mindset because that which you believe, that's what shall happen to you. I believe that 100%. 100%. So let's take that lesson. Let's say positive things. Let's think positive things. And let's go out and end up accomplish positive things. I do this because I really want to help you. I want you to be successful. I want you to be happy. But most importantly, on this Christmas day, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. And I want you to go out and do big things. Merry Christmas, guys. Love you.